The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are once again live to tape to the W2M Network. No yawn this time, so I'm improving. With the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review here on the W2M Network, W2Mnet.com for those of you wondering. My name is Harry Broadhurst, and joining me as per usual, my co-host, Miss Liz. Wait a minute. Actually, okay, we already did this bit earlier, so it doesn't really work a second time.
Hello, everyone. I'm back, here to torture Harry yet again.
It's great that you're back. You might want to tell him who you are, since I didn't.
I'm Brandon Biskobing.
A.K.A. Bisco.
Yes, precisely.
All right, you ready to get into this here? So at the suggestion of our executive producer and man with the power to mute our microphones, Sean Garmer, we're going to go ahead and do 205 Live first and make you stick around and wait for the Mixed Match Challenge. A singles match happened. There was a promo. Goldust beat through three cruiserweights single-handedly. There you go. That's your show. Oh, no, seriously.
Pretty much, yeah. 205 officially got buried tonight. That is all.
The division kind of took one on the chin tonight, yeah. Because not only did it get knocked down to a half an hour, but there were two matches on the show, and neither one of them got more than 6 minutes.
And a heavyweight destroyed three of your top cruiserweights.
Let's get to this, shall we?
Let's do it.
I mean, do we have to? Do we? I guess so. Opening match is TJP versus Gran Metalik in a rematch of last week where Metalik won with a Metalik driver. Apparently, Nigel in his accent can't say Metalik, so he calls it metallic.
It's always funny hearing Nigel's names for things.
You stay handsome, Nigel. Anyways, yet again, we see Metalik take down TJP, this time countering the chicken wing gut buster into a 3 count on a rolling prawn hold here. The match itself was okay. Nothing we haven't really seen from these guys before here, but the interesting fact is the finish of Metalik yet again pinning TJP, this time by countering TJ into the finish rather than pinning him clean like he did last week with the Metalik driver.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's trying to show that TJP's improving, kinda, I guess.
The underlying storyline here is the fact that Metalik is the guy that TJP defeated to win the Cruiserweight Classic back last year, and now Metalik has 2 straight victories over the former Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah.
Backstage, TJP has yet another hissy fit, temper tantrum, trademark Christian circa 2002. And Dasha Fuente comes up and tries to get an interview, and apparently TJ's crying. I think I have to here. There's no crying in wrestling! A League of Their Own, folks. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Yes.
Anywho. So it looks like we're going to continue either the Source Sport TJ storyline here or TJ eventually getting more and more frustrated to the point that he either snaps and destroys somebody and or quits.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, I mean, I know his run as the champion to start off 205 wasn't the greatest. But, I mean, it looked like he was going to be, one of their top guys, when this whole division started. And now he's, nothing, pretty much. Disappointing.
Well, not to mention he's been off television for the better part of the last 4 months as well before coming back into this little mini feud with Metalik.
Well, yeah, that too.
So he has like no momentum behind him right now.
Yeah.
Jack Gallagher, if you're Nigel, that one I don't blame him for because that is actually how the British say that.
Well, I don't get that. I thought it was like that confused me. I thought it was like the other way around or something, where like the English or like the Americans say Gallagher and like they're saying it the way the British say it, because I've never heard anyone be called Gallagher before this. It was always Gallagher.
Well, this particular one is Gallagher, and Nigel pronounces it the other way. That being said, he has a backstage promo here talking about the terrible, terrible, terrible things he's going to do to Hideo Itami, stating that he may have underestimated Itami at first. He will not make that mistake again, and Itami will pay for the damage caused to both Gallagher himself as well as to Gallagher's mentor, the Brian Kendrick, the GDP. Real quick, honorable GDP points for Tony Nese for last Monday Night Raw's bump of the lumbar check.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
He took the lumbar check and then did like a flip and landed on his stomach.
That was great.
I popped for that. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I love guys like that, or I mean, the all-time greatest in terms of super selling things was The Rock.
Your thoughts on the Gallagher promo?
I mean, it was some what you expect from a Gallagher and Brian Kendrick now with their alliance promo. Them saying that they're going to destroy him and everything. The one thing, and this is just me, and especially with how Vince is, I don't know how much of a hand he has in 205 and whatnot. But I'm surprised that Vince, with Gallagher and with Shinsuke, I'm surprised he doesn't use their MMA background more in promos.
Well, I mean, he kind of has Sonya. They kind of have Sonya Deville doing that, though.
But it's all but that's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain people that do it. Like Sonya Deville does it because she came direct from MMA. Same with Shayna Baszler, obviously. But, like, Gallagher, they don't mention it at all. Shinsuke, they don't mention it at all. Like, they could use that as a way to kind of, make them more of a threat.
Our next segment, Inside of the Ring, sees Goldust and Cedric Alexander. All right, so I have to choose my words very carefully here. Because is it just me, but outside of his brother, does Goldust only make black friends in the WWE?
Pretty much.
Mean, there was Booker T. There was Ahmet Johnson, although that was its own thing. There was...
Wasn't he with R-Truth for a bit?
There was R-Truth as Golden Truth, and now there's Cedric Alexander. Congratulations, Goldust. You've officially run the gambit.
Now he just needs to join the New Day.
Oh, God. Damn it. How dare you.
The Golden Day.
Oh, that could take so many wrong turns on so many different levels. We're just going to move on. After a little bit of, how do I put this politely? Did I say mutual fellatiating? I mean, it is what it is. Okay, mutual buttering each other up, I guess we'll go with, because I'm getting kind of an odd look for the other one that I stated. So we'll go with mutually buttering each other up there. We are interrupted by all four members of the Zoe Train because apparently Tony Nese is back on board in full despite getting his ass handed to him about 4 weeks ago.
And apparently Drew Gulak has become a cowboy.
Yeah, what the hell was up with Gulak's dress tonight? And just know that I did not want to say hell there, and I almost didn't.
Yeah, as soon as he came out, I was just like, okay, why? I guess because they're in Texas, but like
that would be my guess. That's the best guess that I have here. Gulak, you glorious bastard, you look ridiculous. That being said, it does end up leading to Enzo issuing first Goldust issues a challenge to Enzo. Enzo looks like he's about to accept the challenge, limping his gimpy behind down to the ring, still on a bum ankle, before thinking better of it and deciding that in order to get to Enzo, Goldust has to go through the rest of the Zo train. That leads us to our main event for tonight because, of course, it is a 3-on-1 handicap match of Enzo Amore's team of Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, and Arya Daivari taking on Goldust. And Goldust wins!
You people can't see it, but I'm just shaking my head right now.
What the hell? Like, I get that Goldust had to overcome the odds here to set up the Goldust and Enzo on the go home for 205 for Royal Rumble. All well and good. Super, as a matter of fact. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with doing Goldust versus Enzo on the go home 205 live before the Royal Rumble. And especially if you give Enzo a much needed win there because Enzo's been out of the ring for a couple of weeks now. It would be a good way for Enzo to beat a veteran and to get some of his heat back by doing so. Instead, you're going to have Goldust go over arguably the most entertaining part of 205 Live since it's become a regular thing in Drew Gulak. Arguably the most physically impressive cruiserweight in Tony Nese. And, well, let's be honest, Arya Daivari's kind of just there.
Yeah.
My point being, though, is that you still had Goldust go over 3 cruiserweights in one match here inside of 6 minutes.
Oh, I agree.
I have no justification for this.
No, especially, I mean, we've talked about it before with them making the 205 Live, the house shows and all of that. It seemed like they were trying to expand 205 Live and maybe push it a little bit more. And then this whole mixed match challenge started and them pushing it back to a half hour now and them seemingly burying it again. And it's kind of fitting that this happened tonight on the first night of Mixed Match Challenge, where they're basically physically burying the Cruiserweight division by having a random lower card, I won't necessarily call him a jobber because, he's been in the company for so long, he's been around for so long, but, a lower mid-card guy on the main roster in the heavyweight division come in and just completely manhandle 2 of your top cruiserweights in the division and then one of the mid-end guys. Like, there is no justification for this other than Vince basically saying, I am going to bury the cruiserweights because I do not like small guys.
I'm perplexed.
Oh, don't be perplexed. I just explained it to you outright.
I'm trying to find words to justify the stupidity.
There are none. That's the thing.
There you have it, folks. You know what? Here's the thing, though. I think that people would be more inclined to be okay with it if it was somebody that they actually like, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Goldust. But Goldust has done basically jack and shit on the main roster for the better part of 5 months since the breakup with R-Truth. And all of a sudden now he's stepping into this show here and he's beating 3 cruiserweights single-handedly. Admittedly, there was a little bit of miscommunication towards the end of the match there where Tony Nese went to do a dive and ended up taking out Arya Daivari. Gulak got distracted yelling at Nese for diving and then yelling at Cedric for diving onto Enzo and then got caught with the final cut. That being said, I don't understand how they feel like it's okay on the show that's supposed to focus on the 205 and under division that having a guy come in and beat 3 of them single-handedly is considered a good idea. It boggles my mind.
Well, I think the only way, I mean, it's not a justification, but the only way that I can even semi-explain this And, it makes sense, especially with how we know Vince thinks, is that he's just pretty much saying, a heavyweight could take on 3 of you easily and completely destroy you. And that does nothing to help your show, because you're just burying that whole division in one fell swoop.
You think you can hang with the heavyweights? No chance!
Pretty much, yeah.
No chance at all! I feel better now that I got that off my chest. My residual rage is subsiding. I feel better. I'm okay now. Overall show rating, Brandon, scale of 1 to 10.
Oh my god! Can I give it a 0?
I mean, technically, that's not on a scale of 1 to 10, so no.
Fine. I'll give it a 1. There.
It wasn't that bad.
It had a grand total of 2 matches. One that, yes, it continued a story, but the story is stupid and just, it's basically, again, another situation of destroying everything that you created 2 years ago. But then the main event just completely burying the whole entire division. I mean, the only thing that I would even semi-say was, decent was the whole Jack Gallagher promo. But even that, it wasn't his best work. I liked it, but it wasn't, the best work. I'll be generous and give it a 2.
See, I think giving it a 1, or as you attempted to, a 0, does a disservice to the actual effort that TJP and Metalik put in, and does a disservice to Gallagher's work as an individual. I agree that I think the TJP storyline is dumb, because it is. Because we've seen this whole temper tantrum thing here. And unless Diamond Dallas Page is showing up to save TJP's ass, no one's going to care. Mm-hmm. Gallagher, I would disagree with. I think that this is probably Gallagher's best work since he turned heel. I very much enjoy Gallagher as a heel, because him as that kind of Jack the Ripper, as Nigel called him, that sadistic, don't give a crap what I do to you as long as it helps me benefit in the long run thing, it works for him. I feel like there are legs for that. I feel like there are legs with that, and I think there's more that can be done with that.
That would actually kind of be cool if that was his nickname now as a heel, Jack the Ripper.
I feel like there are trademarks that they'd have to get around in order to do that, though. Especially because of the recent television shows and stuff that have aired about it. I think
that's true.
Didn't ABC have like a drama about Jack the Ripper? I got canceled a while back.
Maybe.
I seem to remember it. That being said, though, I'm going to go with a 4, but it's significantly hurt by that main event and the decision to put Goldust over 3 cruiserweights at the same time.
Yeah.
Horrible. Do Goldust and Gulak one-on-one. Let the shenanigans occur. Let Gulak get distracted by said shenanigans. Have Goldust pin Gulak. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Having Goldust beat 3 cruiserweights at once undermines the entire division.
Yep. And it would be bad enough if this were any other week, but especially doing it this week, it basically sends a direct signal to all the 205 Live fans: we do not give a crap about you, and we are going to destroy your show.
All right, let's go ahead and give a one-word review for tonight's show. What's the one word you would use to describe tonight's show?
Buried.
I think you did use that exact word earlier in the show, too.
I did.
Disheartening.
Yeah.
As somebody who's followed the Cruiserweights ever since they brought back the Cruiserweight Classic and enjoyed every single episode of the Cruiserweight Classic.
So did I.
Disheartening, because it is sad to see what has become of the Cruiserweight division, and especially when it does, you said here, Vince drives home the point tonight that it takes 1 heavyweight to beat 3 cruiserweights.
Yep. And you know what's You know what's really disheartening? I'll use your word, disheartening about it, and it's also very ironic. And I think I mentioned this on one of the other shows that we did. I forget if it was when it was me and you or when I was hosting with Liz that first night. But, you know, with all of the, you know, in other combat sports, you know, the top draws are becoming smaller. You know, Mayweather, McGregor, they're all under, you know, they're 150 pounds. They would be considered tiny in the WWE, yet they're huge draws. But Vince just can't get out of this 80s concept of bigger is always better. And, like, he won't let the cruiserweights do their own thing and make their own niche.
I agree. I have nothing to add to that. I completely agree. I feel like the thing that this show is missing is the all-out balls-to-the-wall stuff that we used to see from the old WCW Cruiserweight division, because that's what we got during the Cruiserweight Classic. Mm-hmm. These guys were letting it all hang out in the Cruiserweight Classic, and that's why the Cruiserweight Classic did the ratings that it did. That's why the Cruiserweight Classic got the rewatches that it did. That's why the Cruiserweight Classic got the social media hype that it did, because they were letting them go out there and be themselves and do their own thing and prominently promote Cruiserweight, Junior Heavyweight, call it what you want to, wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And it was focused entirely on the matches. It wasn't, you know, oh, we're going to bring in different people just to make random storylines.
Well, I will say this much. I do think that it did need to develop storylines in order to stay afloat.
No, it did. I agree with you. But, like, even right off the bat, they were bringing in other people from the main roster in order to, I'm assuming, you know, seemingly doing it to try to bolster the ratings. You know, they did it right off the bat with Alicia Fox.
How dare you?
What?
I was going to do my best Noam Dar impersonation.
Okay, fine. You go for it. Actually, I should have done it myself.
It's too late now to say Alicia Fox. It's too late now to say Alicia Fox. Sounds like you're saying a dirty word there, but you're not.
I mean, yes, those segments were funny. I'll give you that, but you know, it just felt like they were automatically saying, "Oh, they can't get over on their own, so we're gonna have to give them some, you know, people we're not using on the main roster."
All right, shall we go ahead and move on to the MMC?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, because apparently they like things that start with M this year. Well, and last year, because they did the MYC last year.
Yep.
And now there's an MMC this year. The Mixed Match Challenge, our first match tonight in the Mixed Match Challenge. First of all, let's talk about a couple of the aesthetics of it all before we get to the match itself here. Your hosts are Renee Young and Byron Saxton, which is good because we don't have to sit and listen to Byron Saxton get ridiculed for another extra half an hour. Corey does enough of that during the 2 hours of SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Your announcers for the show are Michael Cole, who apparently is over Braun Strowman whooping that ass on Raw. Corey Graves, who apparently is contractually obligated to appear on every show ever. Except for 205 Live.
Yeah, I mean, Corey, I think, just likes doing everything.
And Beth Phoenix, who sadly was a little bit of a disappointment on commentary tonight.
I mean, she's getting her feet under her. She hasn't ever done this before, so maybe give her a couple of weeks. You know,
that's fair. I'll grant you that. The match itself was Sasha Banks and Finn Balor, the Boss Club, as they called themselves, taking on Natalya and Shinsuke Nakamura, who the entire focus was on Natalya if you watch the promo videos, the little hype videos that they did there, because it was always Natalya talking. Shinsuke didn't say a word. And then the other one that they did, the only word that Shinsuke said was meow, which was frankly freaking ridiculous.
And not to mention that they traded Shinsuke's iconic Michael Jackson-esque jacket for Jim the Anvil Neidhart jacket.
Well, I mean, I get that, though. That's kind of a team cohesion thing. I understand that.
I'll give you that.
What did you think about the match itself?
I mean, the match is what you expected in a mixed match, and this is one of the things that they're really gonna have to get over in order to keep people interested in this whole thing as it continues. Mixed match challenges, especially in WWE, you're so constricted by the rules that they have set.
The lack of intergender.
Exactly.
I agree. I was interested in the concept of the mixed match challenge. Now that I know that it's under mixed tag rules and not intergender rules, a little bit of my interest has waned.
Oh, I knew it was going to be like that right from the get-go, and I knew that this was going to be a disaster right from the get-go.
See, with Triple H being the one behind it, though, I kind of thought that they might be more inclined to go with that whole independent viewing of things, of the men can wrestle the women, the women can wrestle the men. And these are, let's be honest, these are two of the smaller male athletes on the roster.
Oh, no, I agree with that, but, well, for one, like I was saying, each tag you automatically have to, separate and the other person has to tag in their partner. So it takes the pace out of the match, for one. And then you have the spot, where Sasha does a suicide dive to try to knock them both down, and Nakamura just catches her and, because he can't do anything, just has to, lightly put her back onto the apron. It's ridiculous.
I will actually admit to chuckling at that.
I mean, yeah, it was funny, but, it takes away from the storytelling in a match.
I like I said, I chuckled. I thought it was funny. I thought that spot was clever.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a clever, but there's
a lot of work that's going to have to be done in order to make this work for a full 12-week run.
But I feel Nakamura can do it. I feel like if you really wanted to make it funny, and especially now after yesterday, this would work even so much better. If you really want to have a funny spot like that, do it when it's Braun and Alexa. Do it with whoever they're facing. The woman jumps trying to get to Alexa, and Braun catches her, and then doesn't do anything with her.
Braun and Alexa are taking on Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch, which means Sami's about to die.
Yeah, have Alexa, or not Alexa, have Becky Lynch, do a suicide dive and have Braun catch her and be gotta put you down.
I feel like it would be funnier if Becky went for the suicide dive and just bounced off of Braun.
That would be funny.
Just went boing.
No, that would be Sami that would be doing the bouncing off of him.
That's fair. And he's going to be doing a lot of bumping at the hands of Braun in that match, too.
Oh, God. He's going to get... I just want to see how far Braun can toss him.
Are you talking like Bam Bam Bigelow, Spike Dudley here? Because I'd be totally okay with that.
Precisely.
Yes, that needs to happen.
Yes, it does.
Okay, but to the match itself once again, though, I kind of agree that the choppy nature of the mixed tag match in the WWE does hurt it there. I was hoping that we were going to get more interaction between the male and the female participants, especially while the males were down, perhaps. And even, the interaction that we did get there, specifically, I enjoyed when Sasha went for the dive onto Natalya, and Shinsuke kind of made the save for Natalya there. I thought that was good character work for Shinsuke to make the save.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, that's certainly a way that you can do it, where they just make the save and then just stick them aside. But it does take away from the flow and the energy of the match, I feel, when, the males can, catch and deflect, but can't really do anything.
I have an idea for how to make this work the rest of the way. If they were to listen to this show,
okay,
make them tornado tag matches.
Yeah, that could work. No
tags necessary.
Yeah, that
Guys wrestle the guys, the girls wrestle the girls, but no tags necessary.
Or you could make it, which they kind of did start doing a little bit, like towards the end of the match, it seemed, or at least maybe this was just me reading into it, but kind of make it luchador rules.
Lucha tag, where if one member of the team leaves the ring, the other automatically becomes legal?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, same kind of situation there with the tornado tag there, though. It's no tags necessary. The men wrestle the men, the women wrestle the women, if that's how they're going to go about it.
You could do that, yeah. That would actually be probably the best way to work it, and you could do a lot more things with it, and especially with the with the fact that they're doing it on Facebook, and I'm assuming that they're doing some. They're going to at least try to do some different camera work with it. Kind of do a dual camera where, like, on one side you have the men wrestling, and then if they're not, obviously if they're in the same shot, then it doesn't matter. But if they get separated, then have like a split screen type thing.
I know you watched it. I actually saw you pop up when I loaded the screen. I was already in there by the time you pulled up the match itself.
Yeah.
So I saw you pop up and I saw a comment that you made there. Did you end up getting rid of the comments like I did? Because I found those to be very distracting.
I just put it into full screen, and the full screen just automatically took the comments away.
See, on the phone that I'm using, on the Nexus phone that I'm using, even when I went full screen for the video, the comments were still there. I had to swipe the comments away. I found that to be very annoying.
Oh, okay. You were using the phone. See, I was using my Mac.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you were on actual Facebook. I was on the Facebook app on my phone.
Yes. I think that's probably what it is that in the app, because I think I've watched the video before, not a live video, but like one of those regular videos on Facebook, and you are correct that they the comments do pop up on the side. So yeah, that may be something that they may have to fix, or I guess people will just have to fix it themselves, or the phones.
Do you think that this is a concept that could work into an extended stay? Like if they do a season here and then they bring it back down the road, do you think that this is a concept that has any long-term viability, or do you think this is going to end up being a one-off?
Are you the concept of the mixed match challenge or the concept of the Facebook thing?
Both.
The mixed match thing, I think, unless they loosen the reins a little bit or do your idea, I think that this is going to get very old very quickly, and it's going to peter and die, and they're not going to do much with it. In terms of the Facebook thing, if you did it there are a lot of variables that you have to work out with this whole thing, but if they could figure out how to make it very, interactive, and, the fans, by commenting, have a say in what happens and whatnot, I think it certainly could do something, but I just feel it's just weird. I know this is how the world is going now, where Facebook is getting into the video streaming game and everything. But, they spent all of this money and everything on making their own network for something like this, and now they're just going to throw it away. And I don't know if this was just me, but when I first got on the network tonight to put on 205 Live, it was acting a little screwy. And, I restarted my computer, or I restarted my 360 and turned it back on, and it loaded fine. But then, about 10 minutes into 205, it started glitching and lagging, and I was like, "What the hell's going on with the network tonight? Are they not caring about the network anymore because of this whole mixed match challenge stuff?" it seems like they're trying to push into these new territories when, they don't need to.
I don't disagree. I think that the network, and especially for stuff like the Cruiserweight Classic or the Mae Young Classic that we got the last 2 years, respectively, 2016 and 2017, respectively, I feel like the network is a perfect place for something like this here because it's something that's going to increase subscriptions, and it's something that people are going to want to view. But as our producer just said in our chat here, and I was about to get to, the WWE is getting paid by Facebook for this.
Oh no, I understand that.
It's a little bit of a money grab.
Oh, I completely understand this. But I just feel like, I know especially in the, in the PG era, they're very limited on what they can do outside of their normal programming. But I think you could figure out a much better and a much more attractive and much more popular format to put a Facebook type show on.
We'll see what ends up happening with this the rest of its run here. We're just 1 week into what is apparently going to be a 13-week run for this, so we'll see where they go from here. But signs of promise, but also reasons for concern tonight. So I'll call tonight a mixed bag. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5. There were some interesting moments in the match, but especially the maybe it's just because of who they were, and also the fact that I wasn't all that interested. Oh, I forgot to mention this about it. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it was just coincidence or if this was really poor planning, but especially for the fan, the cat, well, even more casual than me, but even someone like me who's a huge wrestling fan and a huge WWE fan, but I'm not all that interested in this format. I felt myself caring more. I was watching the top 25 of Raw on USA more than I was watching the mixed match. And that was I was like, WWE, you're shooting yourself in the foot on the first night of your new show by putting it right up against your own programming.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's a concept that in and of itself could have worked. However, the timing for it seems a little suspicious.
Yeah.
That said, I'm willing to give it a shot, and I'm willing to continue watching here, mostly because it's 20 minutes of relatively inauspicious programming that's, in my opinion, hopefully going to be worth the time to watch. I enjoyed the match tonight. I thought that all 4 people worked really hard in the match tonight.
Yeah.
And you could definitely tell that crowd was abuzz for the Balor and Nakamura interaction.
Oh, definitely. This was the match to put on to kick it off because this is a match that people wanted to see, especially between Balor and Nakamura. And, it was a decent match. Like we talked about before, they have to figure out the timing issues in a mixed match, in a mixed tag match, because of how each tag basically resets the match. So they have to figure out some way of getting a better flow into it. The only other thing, this is just talking about the whole thing itself, not specifically this episode, but with a few obvious exceptions, which you knew it was a foregone conclusion that these two were going to be paired together, it feels like a lot of the teams were just kind of haphazardly thrown together. It's like, why are these people pairing up? And you even have faces and heels teaming up together, and it's
the only real obvious pairings that they have, I think, are Jimmy and Naomi and Rusev and Lana due to the whole marriage things there. Other than most of the other pairings seem very random.
Yeah. I mean, the only one that not so much, it's definitely not obvious, and this is one of those face-heel pairings that
Becky and Sammy?
Doesn't make sense. No. Alexa and Braun because of the whole size differential.
That's true. I mean, Becky and Sammy have the whole ginger thing going for them as well.
That's true. But like Balor and Sasha, I was expecting it to be Balor and Bayley. Like that would have worked better.
That's what a lot of people were rooting for too. So, is it something you're going to tune into next Tuesday night as well?
No, because I have no rooting interest for either team.
That's rough. What happens if you end up filling in again for one of us next week and you have to review it?
If I must, then I must. But I mean, like that's the thing, like, because it's what it's Biggie and Carmella against who?
Miz and Asuka.
Oh, right. So I like Biggie over Miz, but I like Asuka over Carmella. So it's like, I don't care. I don't have a winner for that match.
Do we have anything else to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
I feel like we ran kind of long on this one, but in fairness, we had two different shows to discuss, and we had some different concepts come up during both shows that we wanted to go into more detail about.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the first episode of a brand new show, so we're going to go a little long on it.
Talk about conceptually as well.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about what to expect from us the rest of the week and what to expect from us going forward as well here. I understand that you have a fantasy football podcast coming up soon.
Yes, I do. I have a brand new fantasy football podcast coming up. We're going to debut it the week after the Super Bowl, just do a little year in review type thing. And then we'll probably start it up more in depth come draft time in June. Or is it May for the NFL draft?
April.
Oh, April. Never mind. I was thinking NBA draft June. So we've got that, and then you and I have the kickoff next week, or tomorrow, excuse me. And then, technically today, actually.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Pretty much. And then you and I, at some point, will start another wrestling podcast, so.
In addition to the one that Brandon just mentioned, that is, as he mentioned, a work in progress, I have Wrestling Unwrapped with Patrick Ketzel. We return with our reaction show to the Royal Rumble on Sunday, January 28th. In addition, we do have the kickoff today, technically. It's 1:19 here on the East Coast, so technically today. As myself, Brandon, and Eric Watkins break down everything that's going on with the divisional round games and preview the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games. Also, I have the Raw Reaction every Monday night at 11:30 over on Chairshot Radio Network with Tony Acero and Andrew Ballas as well. So, for our executive producer, Sean Garmer, and my co-host for the evening, Brandon Biskobing, thanks for filling in once again, Brandon. Appreciate it. As well as the not with us this evening, Liz Puglisi. Hopefully she feels better soon, Liz. I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review here from the Wrestling to the Max and the W2M Network, available online at W2Mnet.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next Tuesday night.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.